First, we will create a project name info users. In opening main.xaml, delete the existing sequence activity and add a flowchart activity. Now we will create variables data. Create a variable name, URL and type as string to save the website's link that contains the user's information. Create a variable name, n and type as int32 to save the amount of users needed to extract information. Create a variable name, isError and type as boolean, which is the flag to notice error, if any. Create a variable name, error message and type as string to save the error notice. Create a variable name, info.dt and type as data table to save the user's information extracted from website. Add the first sequence activity to perform the activity of reading data from the config file. Change name activity from default name to read data config. Search and add one try catch activity. Add read range activity inside the try block. Open the project folder and create the config file, .xl, to contain input values. Browse the prepared config file to set it as workbook path of read range activity. Set range is double quotes and check on add headers. Focus the text box next to data table. Press Ctrl+K to create the variable name config.dt to save the output of read range activity. Add a assign activity to assign value. To assign value extracted from the config file for URL variable, URL equals config.dt.rows, 0, value, to string.trim. Add a assign activity to assign value extracted from the config file for the n variable. N equals convert.to int32, config.dt.rows1, value, .trim. Add a assign activity to assign isError equals false. Add a new exception on catch block which contain an assign activity error message equals exception.message. Add another assign activity to assign isError equals true. Open sequence read data config. Add an append line activity before read range to log the opening notice of sequence read data config. Back to the flowchart. Add flow decision to check the isError variable. Add a sequence activity to perform the activities responding to errors. Change name activity from default name to error handle. Inside error handle sequence, add append line activity to log the error notice. Add message box activity to let users know if there is an error when starting the workflow. Back to flowchart, connect error branch of flow decision to error handle sequence. Add a sequence name getInfoUsers to perform the activities of getting users information. Connect success branch of flow decision to it. Add try catch activity inside getInfoUsers sequence. Add an append line activity to log the starting notice of sequence getInfoUsers. Add an invoke workflow file activity. Create a sequence to perform the activity of getting information from website. Back to main, add an append line activity to log the finishing notice of sequence get info users. Create a new exception inside catch block. Add an assign activity to set error message. Add another assign activity to set is error equals true. Add arguments for get info users workflow. Name, URL. Direction, in, type, string. Name, n. Direction in. Type hint32. Name info DT. Direction out. Type data table. Add a build data table activity. Create a variable name temp, type hint32. And assign its value equals 0. Add an open browser activity and set URL value as URL parameter. Add while activity with condition temp is smaller than n to repeat the activity of getting information from website. Add a browser click activity to perform the activity of clicking generate button. Add a browser get text activity to save user's name in name variable. Add a browser getText activity to save user's email in mail variable. Add a browser getText activity to save user's address in address variable. Create a variable name rowtemp with type as data row. Assign values for rowtemp's columns. Add an add data row activity to add rowtemp into info.dt. Add an assign to increase temp's value as 1. We save workflow. Back to main workflow and specify values of invoke workflow file activities properties. Back to flowchart, add flow decision activity after get info users. Connect error branch of flow decision to error handle sequence. Add a sequence name. Insert info users. Connect success branch of Flow Decision to it. Add a try catch activity inside insert info users sequence. Add an invoke workflow file activity. Add an append line to log finishing notice of sequence. Insert info users. Create a new sequence name. Insert info users to perform the activity of inserting the information into Excel report file. Add argument name, info.dt. Direction in. Type, datatable. Check info.dt and add append range activity. Open project folder and create a Excel file name report.xlsx to save users information. Specify values for append range activity. We save workflow. Back to main workflow and specify values of invoke workflow file activities properties. Add new exception inside catch block and add activities. Add flow decision activity after insert info users. Connect error branch of flow decision to error handle sequence. Add a message box activity to notice running workflow successfully. Connect success branch of flow decision to it. Save, run and check the result.